Larry says, given SQL Server's licensing costs, why would anyone choose Enterprise Edition instead of just building around Standard Edition's limitations? Oh, that's a really interesting question. Why would anyone choose Enterprise Edition? Okay. So assume that you're a big shop, an enterprise, if you will, and you run a lot of SQL servers. One of the most efficient ways to do that is with virtualization. You have one VMware or Hyper-V or whatever host, and then you pile on lots of guests onto that host. When you do that, you have to license with Enterprise Edition at the host level for it to really make financial sense, and then you get to run a buttload of guests. At that point, as long as you're doing that, and every enterprise is doing it, because every enterprise runs VMs these days, as long as you're doing that, why would you not rely on things that Enterprise Edition has built into the box? That changes for small companies and customers who use the cloud, because it's much harder to use Enterprise's VM license. Not impossible, but you have to use dedicated hosts, which is kind of a pain in the rear end. So it's less popular these days up in the cloud. It's much more common to use Standard Edition, especially given how expensive virtual hardware is in the cloud. The other reason that people go to Enterprise is because they have truly big data. They have single tables that are over a terabyte in terms of size. And to handle that, they really want big hardware, and the 24 core limits and 128 gig RAM limits in SQL Server, as far as we know, it's in 2022. There's no reason to expect that will be different in 2025. I don't expect Microsoft to improve those limitations because their logic, I'm sure, is going to say something like, well, most VMs are really small. Up in the cloud, VMs are really tiny, so you don't need Enterprise Edition unless you're really, really big. So I also don't hear a lot of pushback from people that 128 gigs isn't enough, because I think, and same thing with 24 CPU cores, I think that CTOs, executives, are still of the mindset, especially ones who rely on Microsoft software, are still of the mindset that 128 gigs is a lot of RAM, whereas you go into the open source world, and that is absolutely not the case. I mean, it's not unusual to see a $10,000 or $20,000 server with half a terabyte worth of RAM in it. It's just not that much in comparison.